Right now on a special edition of To The Point, what is Pride?
LGBTQ individuals have undergone great oppression and invisibility.
We're looking at Pride Month's origins.
If we don't learn from the past, we're going to repeat it.
No hate crime, no hate group, no anything can take away the love that I have for my art form, the love that I have for my community.
We're sharing authentic stories from our local LGBTQIA+ community about finding community and acceptance. You'll even meet the first known transgender woman to medically transition in China. She now calls Sacramento home.
If someone find out, I probably get a death penalty.
This is To The Point. I'm Alex Bell. On this special edition to The Point, we are highlighting our diverse communities. And tonight we take a closer look at the LGBTQ+ community. But first tonight, our race and culture reporter Candace Red explains the origins behind Pride.
Pride Month is celebrated each year in June to honor the 1969 Stonewall Uprising.
It's really the beginning point of the modern gay and lesbian movement.
The mafia-operated Stonewall Inn was considered one of the most popular gay bars in New York City in 1969. Around that time, being gay was illegal in New York.
LGBTQ individuals have undergone great oppression and invisibility in society.
It was also illegal to serve alcohol to a gay person throughout the state until 1966. Many gay establishments operated without a proper liquor license, making it easy for police to raid gay bars and other places.
Back in the 60s, there were many laws on the books that criminalized the simple act of existing as a person who was LGBT, and that manifested itself as over-policing of the community.
On Saturday, June 28, 1969, New York City police in plain clothes raided the Stonewall Inn. Officers justified the raid with a search warrant, authorizing the police to investigate the illegal sale of alcohol at the bar.
Law enforcement would come into LGBT bars and, just arrest the patrons for being.
Primary sources available at the Library of Congress detail how the turning point came when police tried to put a lesbian in a patrol car. Officers forced the woman into the vehicle. In response, about 400 people outside of the bar tossed objects such as coins and bottles at law enforcement.
It turned into a whole protest movement. All sorts of marginalized groups were fighting for their rights and fighting to be recognized.
It was also illegal to wear fewer than 3 items of, quote, gender inappropriate clothing in New York in 1969. It was informally known as the 3-article rule, or 3-piece law. At Stonewall, police arrested several cross-dressers and at least 2 drag queens.
They realized they needed to do something to resist these kinds of oppression.
Around 4 a.m. the next day, the crowd at Stonewall dispersed. But by the evening, thousands of people showed up at the bar and in surrounding areas to fight for LGBT rights. The protests continued into the next week, with law enforcement violently clashing with protesters.
They were infringing on our rights. They were arresting us. They were beating us.
Over the next several days, LGBT supporters pushed the gay rights movement. On the 1-year anniversary of the Stonewall Uprising, gay rights activists organized the first Christopher Street Liberation March and Gay Pride Week in New York City.
And they started the marches in New York to celebrate that, to celebrate the fact that they stood up for themselves.
About 3,000 to 5,000 people attended the march. Activists in other cities, including Los Angeles and San Francisco, organized Pride celebrations too.
Very quickly, it had a global impact, not only in Europe, in other parts of the non-Western parts of the world.
In the U.S., the last Sunday in June was initially celebrated as Gay Pride Day to recognize LGBT people and history. The day grew over time to a month-long celebration.
Pride is a celebration of all the things that the LGBTQ plus community never had. If we don't learn from the past, we're going to repeat it.
Pride is really about creating a better world for future generations. It's a celebration of how far we've come, but there's still work to be done.
And that was Candace Red reporting. Throughout the show, you will hear me use the phrase LGBTQIA+, and those letters are an expansion of the group that had just often been called the gay community. So here's a look at what some of those letters mean. You've probably heard of the acronyms LGBT and LGBTQ. Each letter carries a significant meaning and keeps changing, so let's break it down. First of all, it's all about inclusion and taking ownership of one's gender and sexual identity. Until around the 1960s, the word gay was used to describe anyone who did not fit into the default societal idea of heteronormativity. The community then started to embrace the gay identity with pride. It has since evolved into more specific words for different identities like lesbian and bisexual and transgender. In recent years, the Q was added to the acronym to represent people who might not identify as LGBT, and it stands for queer and sometimes questioning. The Q also acknowledges a fluidity in gender and sexuality. However, it is not used by all members of the LGBT community, since it was once used as a way to put down people. As the acronym continues to evolve, the plus sign was added to acknowledge the limitless sexual and gender identities used by members of the community. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Bottom line, it's all about inclusion and respect. And as we help bring visibility to our local LGBTQ+ community, finding affordable housing for low-income seniors on a fixed income is already hard enough. But for older members of the community, it can be even harder. So we're checking in with Lavender Courtyard, an affordable senior housing community in Midtown Sacramento. It opened a little over a year ago and is geared towards low-income LGBTQ+ seniors. Experts say that some of them face stigma when searching for housing. Some same-sex couples and transgender people even choose to go back into the closet when they go into assisted living and senior housing. At Lavender Courtyard, that's not an issue, though. We spoke to one transgender man who lives there and says that he feels safe and supported.
When this place was first announced, I mean, I was hot on the wire to get in here. I just wanted to be here so bad. Previous housing was low cost, but it was with a mixed age group. Particularly, we had some people with very severe mental health issues or very severe addiction issues. So this place comes along where it's for seniors, so it works out perfectly.
Lavender Courtyard offers a mix of affordable housing units and permanent supportive housing units specifically for folks transitioning out of homelessness. And there is a wait list to get into these apartment complexes. We do have more information on abc10.com/links. Coming up onto the point, suicide, depression, and anxiety are just some of the mental health challenges the LGBTQIA+ community faces. We show you why and where people are finding help. And later in the show, we meet the first known transgender woman to medically transition in China, why she did it when even the death penalty was a possibility. But first, we want to introduce you to Manny, who is Native American and identifies as Two-Spirit.
Hello, my name is Manny. I'm Cherokee Apache and also with Chumney. I live in Sacramento. My pronouns are he, him, and they, them, and I identify as Two-Spirit and also part of the LGBTQ+ community. Back in 2010, I believe it was 2010 or 2009, so long ago, that's when I actually came out to my family. I came out to one family member, and that was a really big moment for me as one, as an individual, and then two, as somebody who was learning how to navigate the world. And there became a time where I really had to come inwards. I really had to look inwards and see, what does being Two-Spirit mean to me? Something that's very important to remember is that Two-Spirit, the term Two-Spirit, was created for and also provided to our Native American people of North America through vision.
Welcome back. Stigma, discrimination, and bias cause LGBTQIA+ people to have high rates of mental health challenges. That's according to GLAAD, a nonprofit organization focused on LGBTQ advocacy and change. To put that in numbers, a national survey from the Trevor Project shows 41% of LGBTQ youth considered attempting suicide in the past year. 67% reported experiencing anxiety, while 54% reported depression. There's a a growing need for help. And as a therapist and queer femme woman, Natalie Delphin works to protect the mental health of all, especially people in the LGBTQ plus communities.
In comparison to other populations, there still is a lack. I provide anxiety services for anxiety, depression. I work with folks that are struggling with trauma, life transitions.
Natalie says she has a history of trauma and finding help herself. She says it was a challenge. And being of Mexican descent, she says that while growing up, she saw a lack of representation in the mental health field. And local LGBTQ community centers also provide services. Free counseling and community support groups are available at the Sacramento LGBT Community Center in Midtown Sacramento. The organization encourages allies to do the following.
We suffered through COVID and political unrest and attacks against LGBTQ people and an increase in hate crimes and racial injustices. In order to be an accomplice and a strong ally in this work, we need people to speak up, to make donations, to volunteer, to be part of changing in the world.
And if you want to donate to the Sacramento LGBT Community Center, we do have a link on abc10.com/links right now. All right, coming up after the break, meet the first known transgender woman to medically transition in China. Some consider her a pioneer. Sasha Easley is the first known transgender woman to medically transition in China. She says that she enlisted in China's military in hopes of getting surgery and believes she could have faced the death penalty. Now she's living in Sacramento's Pocket neighborhood. Photojournalist Rachel Kim has her story.
When I was young, I thought I had a girl's soul trapped in a boy's shell. I'm Sasha Easley. I've been living in Sacramento since 2005. And people told me I'm China's first transgender. I was born in northern part of China, Dalian, 1962. I always pick up my sister's clothing. Since I was 3, I know I'm a girl. When I was high school, I told my parents I wanted to be a girl. 1978, I know about the gender affirmation surgery when I was 16. I met a boy in a hospital in Changsha. He was my first boyfriend. He told me after the medical school and he's gonna do the surgery for me and then marry me.
The Chinese invasion there has supposedly ended, but the Vietnamese appear to be taking no chances.
In 1979, I told my parents that I wanted to join the army to be a man that was alive because my boyfriend was killed in the war. And that was only hope for me. Nobody to do the surgery for me. In the army hospital, maybe I can find a way, find a chance to do the surgery. 1982, and one day I bought a magazine and I saw an article that wrote by Rong Fangfu, professor of Beijing Medical College, and he talked about the homosexual. I wrote a letter to him. I said, I'm not gay. I want to change my gender. I told him my situation was very dangerous. I was a boy, but I dressed like a girl to work in the factory. I used the restroom and shower room with girls. If someone find out, I probably get a death penalty from the government. I met him in Beijing, and the first meet, he already bring a doctor, Da Mei Wang, professor. They took me to Beijing, the 3rd hospital. When I go see my doctor, and the doctor told me, never had one transgender in China. So if I do the surgery, I would be the first one. When my doctor sent the report to the health department, I think maybe 2 or 3 times all rejected because they say we don't have the law to do the surgery. So I have to do 3 things. The first thing, I have to see a mental doctor. And the second one, I have to get my workplace permission. So the third one, I have to have my parents sign the document. Because that time I was not even 21. One day, my uncle called the CEO. China's health department told him about my situation and that I really need a big change. After 2 days, I received a call from my doctor and she told me good news that approved. I cried. The next day I went to the hospital, different doctors, and tried to scare me after surgery. Your life no more than 40 years old. But I said no. Even I can live 1 month, I would do the surgery. The surgery cost about $100 US.
Yeah, but she looks at mine. She knows what I am.
She knows what you have.
I met Bruce early 2005 on internet and we married. I moved in Pocket, Sacramento in 2005 from Hong Kong. In China, when I grew up, talking about gender identity was not widely open. I've been through so many discrimination since I was young. That's why I'm afraid to talk about my gender to Bruce too.
Last summer, I guess, June, she showed me a picture of an army uniform, and I thought, well, okay, is that your father or is that your brother? And she had that sheepish look on her face that says, no, that's me. We were together all these years and 17 plus years of marriage. And then of course finding out, yeah, that was somewhat of a minor shock, but I had to reflect on our years together. I was the last to find out. I felt pretty good about that in a way because her friends, the Chinese community, they protected her. And I think I appreciated that, you know?
I admire her courage and admire her determination. It's just everyone accepts her as who she is.
Nobody could live like this, but she did. I don't think anybody would have the same experience, anything close to what she went through.
Since I married this guy, and he changed my life. And we work together, work for the charity, and helping those people who in need. Hi. Would you like one? In half of my life was really tough. When I see people in need, I always think about myself. I always get help from people. Now my life is good, so this is my turn to bring back to helping people in need. I want more people to understand the inner world of the transgender people, our society to show more tolerance and compassion.
That journey wasn't easy, having loved ones left behind, but the dawning of a brand new life was now on Sasha's mind.
After the break, we introduce you to someone using their pride to help others.
I am a drag queen. I am a gay male and a native of Sacramento. I first got my involvement in the drag scene back in, I think it was like 93, 94, with the Imperial Court here in Sacramento, which does a lot of drag, entertainment, fundraising. My involvement with the community is through Drag Queen Bingo. So we host Drag Queen Bingo down at Mango's in Midtown. And every month we just come in, we go out, we have fun, and we raise money. And inspiring me to do drag is just helping my community. And it's just something that I feel I was born to do and continue to do. When it comes to all the news lately of, well, the treatment of drag queens and drag kings that we have out there, I just want to let people know we're no different than anybody else. You know, we're there to entertain our people. I want people to feel that they're comfortable to come up and talk to me. They see me in public. I'm not afraid, you know, just to kind of, hey, I am a drag queen. This is what I am. This is what I do. As you can see up behind me, I created a cookbook, and that is helping people in the community by creating a scholarship. And that, again, that is through Drag Queen Bingo.
All right, thank you so much for joining us. We always want to hear what's going on in your community, so make sure you reach out to us. I'll see you later. Hey, it's Alex. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I really love hearing from everyone, and I hope that you'll stay in touch. Reach out to me on Facebook at AlexBellTV, or you can email me at tothepoint@abc10.com, or you can even send me a text message at 916-321-3310.